Real news. True, honest, and not fake news. Oh, it's real news time. And we have a caller on the phone. Mr. Alex, are you there?
Oh, yeah.
Good. Okay.
Who's all with us today? Is it just you and me, or we got some...
No, we have three people. We have me, myself, and you. Yeah, sadly Vince couldn't be on this week. I guess he's busy with finals, understandably. I really don't have the time to do this, but I'm doing it anyway because I love everybody. And we are going to talk about some interesting breaking news events that have happened during the week, and then Alex has a special report that we'll get into. I'm sure you are going to love it. We're going to keep you in suspense for a little bit. First, I want to talk about the mass triggering that erupted. Oh, by the way, I'm Sean, if you didn't know that already. The mass triggering that happened over the weekend with the Trump travel ban. The Supreme Court, once again, ruled that it was A-OK. 7-2 decision, most citizens of Iran, Libya, Syria, Yemen, Somalia, Chad, the Virgin and the Chad, and North Korea will be barred from entering the United States. I'm literally shaking. How about you, Alex?
Well, I don't see why people are making such a big deal about this travel ban. You know, I wouldn't want someone coming to the United States who could be a terrorist. But, you know, apparently Penn State is in full support of these terrorists.
Oh, we're talking about that next. Oh, that's pissing me off.
Oh, yeah, but in all honesty, I think this is a good step forward. We shouldn't be allowing people from countries into America who are a major travel risk. Like, you know, Why people have problem with, like, people, like, how many immigrants do we even have beforehand coming from North Korea? Why are people making a big deal about this?
Yeah, I know. It's like, and they're all, of course, right after this happens, what trends on Twitter? Hashtag Muslim ban, hashtag no Muslim ban. It's not a Muslim ban, as Paul Joseph Watson would say. The majority Muslim countries, you know, that have like the most Muslims in the world aren't even on this list. I wish they were added. These are Muslim majority countries, but they're not the highest Muslim population. 93% of the Muslim population can still enter America. But, you know, the left loves to frame it this way as, oh, you're bigots and you hate Muslims. Well, no, but, you know, at the same time, let's look at something here. You know, you guys all talk about these terrorist attacks and go, it has nothing to do with Islam, when it clearly does. And then when we start trying to go after the problem, ooh, we can't do that. Can't do that.
Well, if this was a Muslim travel ban, they'd ban Britain, but they haven't done that yet.
Yeah, and Sweden.
Yep, Sweden too. You know, most of Europe would probably be banned.
Yeah, Europe could enter.
There's so many Muslims left in the Middle East.
I know. I don't know. Where are they? That's why ISIS is like gone, because there's like no Muslims there.
Yeah, they just all live in Europe now, because Europeans would love that cultural enrichment.
Oh yeah, it's cultural enrichment, all right.
And if you say anything about it, you'll get sent to jail for hate speech.
Yeah, but you know, keep your hate speech off of campus, except if you're at Penn State and you support jihad and like anti-American ideals. But we'll get to that soon. Any last words on this? And I'm gonna move on to another interesting topic.
No, I think you did a pretty good job filling in with that. The only thing is, people talking about some Muslim travel ban, North Korea. I don't know how many Muslims are in North Korea. Maybe that's Kim Jong-un's secret weapon.
Yeah.
He's been hiding it from us. He's going to, like, wage massive jihad.
Kim Jong-un, I'm just imagining he has, like, a basement full of, like, Muslims that he has, like, locked up and, like, ready to go, like, when he needs them.
Yeah, talk about unexpected jihad. Yeah, there you go.
Unexpected jihad is right. Oh, God, it's so funny. So the next topic that I want to cover, we don't have many topics this week, by the way, but we only have 3 big ones, and yours is the 4th thing. But the next one I gotta talk about because, the butt hurt. It's so great. Senator Al Frankenstein has finally resigned. And, you know, this was kind of pushed upon him to do, kind of expected. But, you know, what he said in then his resignation speech wasn't really surprising. But I gotta point some few things out that he said that just freaking pissed me off. He first said, "Some of the allegations against me are simply not true. Others I remember very differently." So basically he's saying, like, yeah, everything you hear, that's not true. And the second quote that pissed me off was, He said, "I'm proud that during my time in the Senate, I have used my power to be a champion of women, and that I have that I have earned a reputation as someone who respects the women I work alongside every day." I know there's been a very different picture being painted over the last few weeks, but I know who I really am. Holy crap! This guy does not respect women. Or women. I mean, what the heck is he talking about?
I think he's trying to go and paint a better picture of himself as he's like leaving with his tail between his legs. And then he goes and gets all triggered. He's like, "Oh, well, why do I have to be kicked out when Trump can stay here and when Roy Moore is running?" Well, shoot, I don't think either of them did anything. But even if they did, your party is the one that advocates, who pretends to advocate for, like, oh, we hate rapists, we hate this. But, it's funny how most of our party is rapists. And,
Bill Clinton's a rapist. Infowars.com.
Well, look at Weinstein. I don't think he was a Republican.
He was a big Democrat supporter. Donate to Hillary, Obama, and Bill.
He was watering the plants with his genitalia in front of little girls. Why is he allowed to stay in there?
Because
why did they just come out reasons. Now? And then look at Bill Clinton. He was like, I guess, I don't know what your definition of respecting women is, but I don't think, having an extramarital affair in the Oval Office with an intern is appropriate respecting of women. That almost seems like rape.
It might be. Maybe Alex Jones is onto something.
He's the president of the United States. That girl going to say no? Shoot, he could go in like Ruby Ridge or like Waco. She ain't going to say no. She likes her family. It only takes a little bit for the president to go and make it so that your house is found to have like heroin or like machine guns in there, and then your entire family gets shot up. Of course, she's going to go and police the president.
Yeah, and the thing with Bill. Andre's being all fussy. The thing with Bill Clinton is, Monica Lewinsky, from what I understand, was actually kind of asking for it. But like some of these other girls, like he sounds like he kind of forced himself on them because like there's like I think her name is Juanita Broadwick. It claims that Bill Clinton raped her. He's got like 5 rape accusations and like the.
See, I don't know how the leftists would feel about like Juanita because on the one hand that's like, he's raping someone. On the other hand, at least they're probably like, oh, well, at least he's not a racist.
Yeah, he's diverse. He supports diversity.
At least he's not a rapist, like a racist.
A racist
can't
rapist.
Say that about Trump. I could see. I would love to go see make that headline. That would be the funniest thing. I don't just rape white women. I rape every woman. I'm Bill Clinton.
I'm Bill. I don't rape just white women. I rape all colors. I rape them all equal. And I'm Bill Clinton. And I approve this message.
He's a colorblind, womanizing rapist.
Yeah.
The left would see that as a positive.
Yes, it's progressive. It's very progressive, Alex.
Well, see, where does you have to go and kind of think about this. It kind of brings up this like weird mathematical formula because you have their progressive ideology, like being like a sexual abuser. That's I guess that'd be like negative 50 points for being a racist. That's the worst thing in the world for them.
Oh yeah.
They like in England, if you're like a Muslim and you rape someone, you'll probably get a slap on the wrist. But if you're a white person and you're racist to a Muslim, you're going to jail for 15 years.
Yeah.
So obviously, they think being a racist is worse than being a sexual assaulter / rapist.
Yep, it's pretty bad. And the the thing about Clinton's like he shoved like cigars up women's what. Like this guy was doing some weird stuff. But
their Oval Office.
What?
He shoved into their Oval Office.
I'm gonna make the Eagles beat real big.
Yeah, we need to get that song.
I'm trying to figure out how to buy it. It's really difficult to track that thing down. But yeah, he was opening up a lot of Oval Offices while he was in the Oval Office. So Wow, Oval Office inception there. But the other quote that you alluded to that Franken also said that pissed me off is when he blamed Trump. He said, "I of all people am aware that there's some irony in the fact that I am leaving. While a man who has bragged on tape about his history of sexual assault sits in the Oval Office, and the man who has repeatedly preyed on young girls campaigned for the Senate with full support of his party." Okay.
If I was Roy Moore, I'd go and sue Al Franken for making
defamation.
up lies.
Yeah.
Defamation.
Libel.
You don't have any proof.
Yeah, that's
the only proof that you have is a forged yearbook.
Yeah, I was gonna say that you gotta compare these two situations here, and I'm gonna dissect it. On the one side, the Democrat side, you have Al Franken, you have John Conyers, and we'll throw in Harvey Weinstein. How about that?
You got all sorts of other ones.
Oh, yeah, actually, I'll do that. We're gonna do a trifecta here. We're gonna do Al Franken, Bill Clinton, and Conyers. Conyers resigned. Al Franken resigned. Bill Clinton was impeached. Now, what do we have here? Bill Clinton, we have the dress. We have plenty of other evidence. With Conyers, we have documents. We have showing that he was paying people off, and that he was paying people for sex, basically, or not giving him sex. In some cases, he'd fire them for that. And then you have Al Franken, who we have a picture of Al Frankenstein going at the girl while she, on her breast while she's asleep. A military woman. This is all evidence here, and he's comparing it. He's juxtaposition here is to Trump and Roy Moore. Roy Moore, there's no evidence. They've already found that there was some stuff fudged with the yearbook. And with Trump, there is nothing, just allegations, no proof, no witnesses, nothing. And it's kind of coincidental that the crap that came out about Trump is when he was running as president many years later and was an anti-establishment candidate. Someone that was going against the elites, against the globalists, against the people who are running this country and don't want anybody ruining their club and kicking them out. And on top of that, let's look at the tape, the infamous Access Hollywood tapes. What did Trump say? He didn't say that he's raping women or any of that crap. He literally says, when you're a star, you can do anything. Grab him by the meow.
Kitty cat.
And he's saying they let you do it. That is the definition of consent.
Well, apparently consent isn't consent anymore.
No. And what he's talking about is because there's two types of things. There's when a guy, goes after girls and forces sex on them. That's a rapist. Then there's the other, let's flip the roles around, where a girl sees this rich billionaire with golden hair and a $10 billion sitting in his wallet, and she just crawls all over him, literally asking and begging for sex. That is what Trump was talking about.
Like a little demon.
A goblin.
Like a succubus.
A goblin.
Like a succubus trying to go and, suck the soul out of him through his,
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on all this? I mean, I ranted there because it pisses me off when they draw this comparison because they're not comparable. But,
Well, I'm surprised the left hasn't praised Al Franken for standing up against the military-industrial complex by assaulting a soldier. They're so loony these days that you see, it's just so bad, and he's like a little sore loser. He's like, he got to do this. He's a sore, whining, pedophile loser. He needs to.
He's a total and complete loser. He's a total failure. Nobody likes him. His ratings are in the tube. His poll numbers are at 0. Al Franken is sad.
And he's a pot-bellied pedophile.
A pot-bellied goblin crawling around.
Disgusting.
Yeah.
He just thinks he can get away with anything, and he has pictures of him doing that.
But that's not proof enough. This is not how I remember it.
Honestly,
it was different.
I just it was a joke when I grabbed your genitals or that's like
total
just
joke,
a prank, bro.
What was that? Oh, yeah, it's just a prank, bro.
It's just a prank, bro. Except I was raping. So it's just a prank, bro. It's all cool.
Yeah.
That's the sort of logic they're using.
Yeah, it is.
Why do we allow these people into office?
Yeah.
Why does the left try to defend this guy who's clearly in the wrong? He was a soldier too. She was asleep.
Yeah, she says that's what makes it worse. She was asleep, and he took a picture. Who takes a picture of that?
Like, he was just like, look at that. You know, that's just, you got pranked.
Yeah,
and
you got
like,
pranked.
No, dude, that's disgusting.
I know. And if a Republican did the exact same thing, like let's say Roy Moore's face was on where Al Franken's was, I would be saying the exact same words I'm saying today and how bad it is. I don't care what party you are. This is wrong and this is disgusting and terrible. But the difference is because they're going to say, oh, you're defending Roy Moore. Oh, you're biased. No, there's two different cases here. One is allegations with no evidence. One is freaking allegations with freaking evidence.
Well, yeah, and it's like and it's the left. They just love to go and show you that they like to go and laugh in front of you. Like when they had that with the Weinstein, they used to have jokes on like Family Guy about all the time.
Oh yeah.
They were just like, look at Stewie, he's naked, he's saying some nonsense. But he was right.
Yeah,
and
Seth MacFarlane knew, and all these Hollywood people said, yeah, it's an open secret. Stay away from Weinstein.
And then they had that. Who was that other Hollywood producer? He did a lot of Nickelodeon shows.
Yeah, 4chan was looking into him.
What was his name?
I forget. It was one of those that kind of blipped on the radar and disappeared.
Yeah, but I think he did like iCarly. And I don't know if he actually did this, but I'd go and do some investigation into that guy because I think he had a foot. A fetish.
Foot fetish, yeah.
Like, dude, have you ever watched any of those shows? It was like Drake and Josh, iCarly. Yeah. It was that guy, and they always have these weird feet scenes, and I was just like, this is a little bit weird. I don't know. I'm not saying he is. I'm not saying he isn't, but you gotta get your noggin jogging. Think.
Yeah.
Dig.
It's something to chew on.
He may or may not be. Then he might be just a normal, guy who likes.
Yeah.
Or he might be something more. He might be the next Weinstein. You gotta just go and look.
Well, Alex, for when we come back next semester, I want you to get your feet in the water and look into this a little bit more.
Oh boy.
You saw my pun there. You saw what I did there.
I saw. The thing is, with that particular guy, there's, it's not. There's that proof. It's not really proof. It's just weird. But we don't have anyone claiming anything. Although there was some weird pictures of Miranda Cosgrove.
Yeah,
a couple years
she's
ago.
hot.
But she's gonna be like the who was that one girl from Mean Girls?
Oh my God! Oh crap! Are you talking about the Lindsay Lohan?
Yeah, she's gonna be like Lindsay Lohan. Probably. It's like with a lot of these child actors because they had to get the Weinstein treatment. They get all these Hollywood people. They go into all these Eyes Wide Shut parties. They do things like that.
Well, and also these girls it rhymes with shots, but it begins with a T. And it takes a certain person, I think, to be attracted to an industry where you fake it as your job. Your job is to not be yourself and to fake it. It's a little strange if you ask me, as much as I love movies and stuff. But last words before we get a break?
These kids, the thing is, these kids, they're not like adults. Like when somebody's coming, like when iCarly started, she was like, what? Miranda Cosgrove was like, 10, 12?
Yeah. And,
she's having... Then you look at, who is that Wrecking Ball woman?
Miley Cyrus. She's wacky.
Yeah, I think she was probably... someone needs to go and look into what happened to her because she had some breakdown. And there's a lot of them, too. And, they need to... Tia Tequila, she really went south.
Yeah.
I forget what she was in, but she ended up, getting into, the alt-right, and she's, some Asian girl, She went to the National Policy Institute, and her and Lindsay Lohan and Amanda Bynes, they're like this trifecta of cancer.
Oh, my God. The Triforce of cancer. Watch out.
It's just terrible. It's like them three,
Yeah. I'm going to talk for very long here because there's a lot to cover with this story, but it's a big one. And it pisses me off, if you'd have guessed. So... I was scrolling through, the Twitter feed of the Collegian, Onward State, Underground, all these Penn State mainstream networks. What was that?
Cancer.
You have a cough there, Alex. You got to hold it together. So we were scrolling through, or I was scrolling through it, and then I came across this headline that said, Penn State police share vague tweets regarding students' controversial comments. This was from the Collegian. I was like, ooh, what's this about? I mean, it's a pretty innocuous sounding headline. And I thought, I don't know what's going to be about. Well, let's check this out. What is this really about? This is where a Penn State Islamic exchange student named Hussein, I'm sorry, I'm not pronouncing it right. No, microaggression. Outler Karlmach made terrorist threats to Laura Loomer, who's a right-wing journalist, via DMs, direct messages on Twitter. This is the stuff he said. And I'm going to let it sink in for a bit. And I'm going to have to bleep out the curse words, or, well, not say them, but you get the point. Get the F out of my country, you disgusting subhuman piece of garbage. Can't wait for Trump to permanently cripple your country. 9/11 didn't kill enough of you effers. Hope Iran nukes your country. And then he tweeted a photo of a Starbucks cup which said Osama bin Laden on it. And he also wrote, and this one I can't confirm yet because I'm sorry, I haven't had enough time to look into this. I was doing this last night. I didn't have enough time to do it today. He wrote, Mujahid in Arabic on his Twitter, which supposedly usually describes someone who's engaged in jihad. Would make sense in this case. And of course, he sent also a picture of American soldiers with the guns in the boots, with the helmet on the butt of the gun, with soldiers praying and crying in front of it because they lost their brave fellow soldiers. And he said to Laura Loomer, with that picture, he said, "Are you mad? Americans are a trash people and mostly support their country foreign policy." And he showed a bunch of, he said, like, sorry to hear that the ISIS attack upset you. There's some good news to cheer you up. And there's a picture showing the suicide rates of veterans. So this one's sick, I can't even call humans, sick garbage piece of scum.
Garbage human.
I was going to say that, but that's reserved for Sargon. That was the first thing I thought.
Sargon's a lot better person than this.
Oh, yeah. Sargon didn't do nothing. This guy did everything. He is disturbing, the stuff he was saying. Now this is what you're thinking. You're thinking, oh, this is just a troll. Is this somebody screwing around online? No. Penn State confirmed this kid does go to this school. Interestingly, Laura Loomer said on Twitter, he calls himself Hussein, Hussein on social media, but in the Penn State... Hussein, yeah, that's probably how you say it. I'm sorry, I'm not bad with these culturally enriching names.
Yeah, like Barack Hussein Obama, or like Saddam Hussein.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess it's a common Arab, Middle Eastern.
Sorry, Alex, I need to
You're triggering me right now.
I'm sorry for triggering you. Trigger warning, everyone. I'm sorry, I'm really out of it this week, actually. I probably should have known that. But Laura Loomis said his name is Hussein on social media, but in the Penn State system and on his resume, he goes by Haseen, Heseen. Using different spellings of a name is common in tactic used by Islamic infiltrators who come in here to terrorize. My sources in counterterrorism tell me it's quite common. Ooh, that's not weird enough. Well, this is how Penn State responded. Good old Penn State. Penn State is this progressive, loving, caring, tolerant administration. And they're going to make you feel safe here. This is the safest place in the world. So how did they respond? The Penn State police responded with, and I quote, "Thank you for bringing this to our attention, but we are assigning an investigator and we'll be speaking with the FBI." Ooh, that's high-level stuff. Okay, that's pretty good. But Penn State said this. This has been reported to federal authorities. The university is not going to comment further. Any faculty or student matters are confidential. Oh, aren't they? Yeah, we just have a guy that's threatening terrorism here, but we're not going to tell you anymore. And Penn State described all of this death to America. I think I already, I don't know if I said that, but the guy said death to America, all kinds of stuff, disturbing, despicable text. Death to America. There's another one here. He says, hope Iran nukes your country. Yeah, I got that one. Okay. So he says, hope Iran nukes your country, death to America. And what does Penn State call this? They don't call it what you think, of course. The PC police at Penn State call them controversial comments. Oh, man.
This is terrorist threats. This is radical Islamic terrorism threats.
But these are just controversial comments, Alex. No need to be afraid. We're not going to comment any further.
And this guy, has it been confirmed he is not a native U.S. citizen? He's
an exchange student.
He's an exchange student. Oh, so that's real great. So that's like having a guest go into your house. You know, they go and poo-poo in the toilet. They overflow it. They go and, you know, they steal all your towels. They go and bust a hole in the wall. And then, you know,
they blow themselves up.
And then they go and say, oh, well, you know, I'm going to go and, you know, cause harm upon you. And he slaps your wife. It's like doing that. Like, you kick a guest out who's being ungrateful.
Yep.
You know, why hasn't
Kick this guy out. Deport him. I'm calling right now for to deport this guy because these are legit screenshots, it appears to be. These are legit threats. These are legit concerns. Penn State they said they reported it to the FBI, and they're dragging their bottoms on this. This guy should be deported and never let back in here. And I'll let you go off after this, Dulski, but there's one more thing that Penn State had to do to just make it even worse, to add insult to this injury. They, according to Loomer, because she knew people that were, knew people in Penn State that were, hearing stuff about this. And they said that the university would not expel this student. I mean, are you freaking kidding me? The guy is saying death to America. I hope Iran nukes you. I mean, of course, you can say you can burn the flag. You can do a lot of, there's a lot of stuff, and I'm totally for the free speech. First Amendment protecting it. But this kind of stuff is threatening her life and Americans' lives. And he's, there's all these kind of signs that he has Islamic extremist ties and he's potentially a terrorist, and Penn State won't expel him? Are you kidding me?
Oh, this is absolutely ridiculous. But, it's really ironic because they had an incident a few years ago. There was
I know what you're talking about, man.
There was a Syrian student, and he was in a fraternity, and there was a woman who gave unconsensual oral relations to five. I don't know how you can do unconsensual oral relations too. That's hard to do, but go with me here.
Oh yeah.
Unconsensual oral relations to five guys in Penn State. They expelled all five students or gave them academic probation or something. And the guy this was when Syria was getting bombed. So this guy was going to be deported if he lost his student visa. And Penn State was willing to go and cause the death of a innocent student over this, I don't even know, how can you do that? Over this faulty sexual assault claim. The guy had to go and get a lawyer, and thankfully he was safe. He didn't end up getting deported after he got the lawyer involved. And then Penn State too, they, over the Timothy Piazza case, they had all these people end up dropping out, and they were, and Penn State deal. Sure loved, they kept talking about them. They told, it's in the news everywhere, and people, that was a big thing, and they made comments about that whole Piazza case. But where's Penn State when there's a potential when someone's making terrorist threats? Well,
as we know now, Alex, Penn State is a sanctuary campus for pedophiles, for illegal aliens, and now terrorists. I'm gonna say that one more time because you gotta let this sink in. How screwed up the PC mindset is. Penn State is a sanctuary campus for pedophiles, illegal aliens, and terrorists. Okay, this is insanity, and people gotta be angry about this. The story hasn't gotten blown up as it should. People should be furious. I know they got rid of Jerry Sandusky, but they were covering that crap up for years. The Piazza thing, they even tried to keep quiet. The press. I remember I talked to one guy with one of the news sources here, and he said, "Yeah, I had to really fight to get that story covered, and look what it is now." It's just absolutely disturbing what, this school is supposed to be tolerant, keeping you safe, but, they're so quick to write a letter when mean old Donald Trump does something they don't like make graduate students, pay taxes. We can agree or disagree with that if you want, but Penn State's so quick to jump on, the anti-Trump bandwagon, anti-Trump this, F Trump, blah, blah, blah. But when this comes up, they responded, which is great, and the police are looking into it. But the fact that they don't immediately expel the student when the evidence is quite clear, they've already contacted the student, they don't expel him at the very least. I mean, they should be reporting him to ICE as far as I'm concerned. I mean, what the heck is wrong with these people?
This guy he needs to be out of Penn State. I'm surprised.
Out.
I'm surprised he isn't in Guantanamo Bay. This is a terrorist threat. He is. I'm not saying he should be sent to Guantanamo Bay. Maybe he should, maybe he shouldn't. That's up for, Donald Trump to decide. And I think at the very least, he should not be at Penn State. He's a security risk. He has jihadi tendencies. He's threatening an American citizen, telling her to get out of this country with expletives, like it's his country. No, if what you're telling me is true, and he is an exchange student,
it's very true.
This is not his country.
Yeah,
he has no right to be here. No one has a right to be here unless you were born here, unless you're a U.S. citizen. You have no right to be here. So for this guy to go and make these threats against her and not be immediately, deported. Yep. It's ridiculous. If this, look at England or Canada. If you have someone, say what you will about Richard Spencer, but he never went up and said he was going to go and wage, a race war against anyone.
Yeah, he never made death threats against black people or anything.
But he still got kicked out of those countries in most of Europe and Poland.
Yeah.
But this guy, he makes Islam death threats and starts glorifying terrorist attacks, and he's still over here. He should be gone yesterday.
Yeah, and this is not to say, because I know people are going to start this hashtag not all exchange students. I know there's a lot of great people that come from all around the world that come to this school, and I was actually talking to a guy in my meteorology study session today who was from China, and he was making me laugh so hard, some of the stuff he was saying. I mean, I love the guy. He was very nice, but this cannot be tolerated. I'm pro, okay, we can have exchange students, international students, we can have immigration. Okay, fine, whatever. But this should be common ground. Common ground right here for both sides, for anybody that's human, should be common ground. But I know that there's going to be people on the other side. They're going to say, oh, you're jumping to conclusion. You're hashtag not all Muslims. It's like, oh my God. I can't even give them a rebuttal anymore because I'm so tired of it.
I could care less if this guy came from Russia or
I don't care.
England. And if he came over here and said, I'm communist, he had a Soviet flag on his profile picture, and everything was written in Cyrillic, and he was like, "I'm going to wage war against capitalism," and then show pictures of the Vietnam War or something like. Well, even then, that's not as bad. But showing showing whether underground attacks, when they bomb places.
Yeah.
And then saying, we're going to wage Cold War. You can't really. You wage war against your country.
There really wasn't much fighting in the Cold War.
We're gonna put you in a gulag, stuff like that. And if they're someone from another country, even it doesn't matter if they're Islam, doesn't matter if they're communist, doesn't matter where they come from. If you're making death threats, you need to be deported. You need to get out of this country. And if you're a member of this country and you make real death threats, even a legitimate death threat. Or even a death threat,
death to America is what he said, quote unquote. Death to America.
Yeah, you have no. Yeah, if someone from this country said that he was going to start praising jihad and start threatening people, they need to be sent to some form of prison, legal remedy.
Yep.
Prison. I don't know what you would do. Some sort of
Guantanamo.
I don't think it's not U.S. citizens doing that. You can send this guy here. And I don't know if he needs to be out of here. He needs to be out of here. I don't care where they send him. Could be Guantanamo, could be North Korea, could be Somalia. I don't care, but he does not belong here if he's going to be a rude guest like that.
Yeah. Last thing, I'm going to do a little quick tangent, and then we're going to move on to your story because we're almost done here. When you mentioned communists, hammer and sickle, all that kind of stuff, made me remember a little thing we had here the Hub, the United Socialists at Penn State, who's a brand new socialist club. They call themselves socialists, but they're basically socialists LARPing as commies, to put it mildly. They had a table out here in the Hub, and they were flying the communist flag. These people they call themselves socialists, but they literally fly the communist flag. I know the two groups, they blur the lines sometimes because they're so similar and so radical. But they were legitimately flying that flag. And I'm just imagine if somebody flew the Nazi flag. Imagine if a group did that. What if there was an alt-right group on campus that flew the Nazi flag? You would see it front page of the Collegian. They'd be writing to Barron to ban them and to expel the kids. But a bunch of people put up a communist flag. it's nothing. Oh, it's so cute. Look at them. They're so progressive. But, they eventually took it down because I think they realized, this is a bad idea, even on the college campus, which is kind of ironic. But it's like these people are so blatant and so unafraid to say such, terrible, anti-American things. I'm not saying you got to enforce, like, everybody's got to be, like, pro-American, conform. No, I don't believe in that at all. But the disrespect they show when this country gives them so much that no other country does it's preposterously mind-blowing.
Well, that's true. If you saw someone with like a rebel flag, like a Confederate flag, and they're waving that, that would be like,
racist.
They'd probably be sent to like a concentration camp, aka re-education camp at Penn State, until racial tolerance training.
PSU concentration camp.
They probably sent to a racial tolerance training, like a re-education camp.
Yeah. You'd have to attend BLM meetings and Black Student Union meetings. You'd have to start hugging every black person you saw.
Like they gotta make you, and I think they actually do have some sort of. I would be like human resources from like a racial sensitivity training class if you did that. But if they fly a communist flag, which killed more people than the Confederates, more people than apartheid, more people than shoot like
Nazism.
The Nazis.
Yeah.
There's something about flag. Over 100 million people died. You can put Stalin.
Communism is the ultimate oppression. It's killed hundreds of millions of people, destroyed cities, destroyed countries, and wrecked the economies everywhere it's been.
Oh yeah, and they steal your money to this day with these socialist policies. Like, look at healthcare.
Yeah.
Like, holy crap! I have to pay like $200 a month for this.
Ooh.
I haven't been to the hospital in like 2 years.
Yeah, you don't get sick and you still have to pay.
Yeah, and any of these people over here, they do get, they doing drugs. They're having unprotected relations with people. They meet off. Like, good Lord, just look at Craigslist. You want to go see some really
that's
just go on to Craigslist. And you go and wonder why this, you have so many people on welfare and stuff and single mothers. Go look on there. There's people on Craigslist begging you to have, unprotected relations with them.
Craigslist is a wretched hive of scum and degeneracy.
Yeah, I'm just saying they have this stuff, and it's like a snapshot. And then you have all these people who go to clubs, and they don't think it's cool to have condoms. The left's going, we need to get a free birth control. We need a free condom, but they never use them.
No,
the girls,
they stash them.
They want to get pregnant. They want to go and use that. It's so easy. There's 101 ways not to get pregnant, but they do not use it. It's not hard. You can go buy a pack of Jimmy's for $10, and you have enough to last.
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know, Alex.
And I mean, if you want to go and pursue these, debauchery, that's fine. That's your business.
Yeah,
but don't make me pay for your kids.
Yep. It's like these people demand that you should provide what the government should provide birth control. No, I'm not going to pay for your irresponsibilities. Just keep your pants on. It's simple.
I saw a Vice article on the other day.
Oh, God.
And it was people in Venezuela, they're so oppressed, they don't have access to birth control.
Oh, my God.
People getting pregnant. I'm like, if I'm in a country that's, you got to pay $100 to get a piece of toilet paper, I'm not gonna care about having intercourse. That's the least worry on my mind. My biggest worry is to make sure I'm not shot,
or starving.
To make sure that wildlife doesn't eat me, to make sure I have a place over my head, to make sure my kids, if they already have kids, is all right. That's my top priority, not going to the club and
getting lucky.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we've covered that pretty well. But as you can tell, listeners, we are pissed at this, and we demand that Penn State not only expel the student, but deport him, report him to ICE and deport him. So, to move on to our final bit with our final 5 minutes here or so, Alex has done some investigative reporting on the We Was Kang school that we were talking about last week. Can you fill us in on your exclusive reporting, Alex?
All right, so there's more research on Imhotep Charter Institute. It's the one that the Penn State student, the person who's going to be a Penn State football player, ended up holding up a wah-wah with a firearm. He ended up getting kicked out and probably sent to jail. He obviously didn't do anything wrong with that. He was
didn't do nothing.
A good boy. But he ended up. I looked into his school, and it is a Black nationalist academy within Philadelphia. I'm not sure if it's. I still don't know if it's taxpayer funded, but what it is that they claim to be a science, technology, mathematics institute. However, they do a very terrible job with mathematics, seeing as less than 20% of people who graduate from their high school have scores above 12. I believe it was 15% in the standardized test for math, but they claim to be a STEM school. I think it was a little over half of them graduate with adequate marks in English.
Mm-hmm.
And how are they supposed to be a STEM school? And I looked into the extracurricular classes, which was really hard to do because their website, for being some sort of technology high school, their website looks like it was made by, a 2-year-old. It's very broken. The links I try to get you can't go and access the other links from the homepage. You have to go to another page. They need to do some work. And I didn't think it was updated in months.
Yeah.
But I was able to somehow manage to use my computer wizardry skills and go through the links, and I found that they had some of their extracurricular classes. They're a little bit lacking over there. They had African drums. You could go and do African drums.
Exciting.
They have let's see their other academic offerings: computer programming, intro to engineering, African drumming, arts.
I mean, Penn State probably has bagpiping as a
school to me. The foreign languages, and they're Black Nationalist Academy. They talk about their African heritage. Literally,
my blackness.
96% of students who go there, there's not a single white student. They have I think
that's racist.
8% mixed, and the overwhelming majority are black. There's not a single white person in that high school, and it teaches. It's a black only Black nationalist school. They talk about Kemet. That's what they call seniors. It's Kemet, which is a black is a black Egyptian term, which the black
Egyptians.
They believe that black people were actually the Egyptians, and they believe in some really fringe ideologies. It's what's that? Nation of Islam. They're kind of related. I tried to go do some research into Kemet, and it's just ridiculous.
Can I wait? Who is Kemet a person? Sorry, I want to clarify that.
It's the name. I think it's the name. I'm still not sure.
Is it the name of this sort of idea, the We Was Kangs idea that black people were actually Egyptian kings and crap?
It's the name of Egypt it's the Black nationalists. I don't know if it was. That's what they called Egypt in Egypt.
Oh my god, this is so funny.
If this was the opposite, if there was a white school that taught white pride,
yeah,
and they had nearly 100% white, 6% Asian, 94% white students there, this would be on the news. No one would send their kids there. This would be called a racist. But when you have the opposite, when you have a black nationalist school, and they do terribly, you can go and see their scores. It's below average. It is terrible. They have, I think, I look the graduation rate. It's pretty. That's pretty good, but it's.
I'll add a thing real quick. There's a school near where I live called Cheney State University, which is basically a African heritage school. So it's all black people basically going there. And it's government funded. Imagine my shock. And guess what their graduation rate is? Just I'm gonna take a guess, Alex. Just guess a number. Just guess.
20%.
Lower.
Holy crap! 15%.
Lower.
10%.
A little bit lower.
9%.
Yes.
How can you do? This is we live in the world
funded.
Of no child left behind.
Yeah.
And we still have. When I was in high school, you had to try to fail a class. You can't
really hard. You had to try really hard.
People would go and smoke, ganja, and then go into class with a level of intoxication. They were high. Go to class, and they would still pass, and they would just be like, "Oh, dude, weed lamau," and they wouldn't do anything productive, but they would still pass.
Wow.
But how can these people did they just get expelled? they just like do drugs and like sell drugs in school or something, get expelled, and that's why they don't graduate?
I don't know, man. It's baffling me. I can't. And they still keep throwing money at it, and nothing's changing. Imagine my shock. It's unbelievable, and I'm not saying it's because they're black. Not saying that, but I'm just saying that these schools that are not properly have high standards they're putting down black people. That's the tragedy of all this, is that there are black kids that need help and they're not giving it to them, and then bad things happen because that's why you have high rates of black crime. That's why you have high rates of wedlock. Children that are not born, black children aren't, many of them aren't born with a father, which is terrible. I want this fixed. You're going to add on this, but I want to ask you: that school you looked into, is that government funded?
I still couldn't find it. I looked on Wikipedia and their articles show. I looked on their website and their website's broken. The only other thing I could see was they're being sued. There was a lawsuit over some similar charity, I guess some sort of African charity, and they were getting sued. And apparently, this is funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. They gave them $9 million. So. Yeah, that's an interesting tie. That's just like Soros. So this is a globalist-funded school which is holding black students down with low education levels.
Bad teachers.
The only good thing that school seems to have is they have a good football team. And the funny thing is, it gets ironic too. They have the only foreign language they teach is Spanish. You'd think they teach I don't know, like Zulu or something like that. Isn't that cultural appropriation that they're teaching Spanish? How dare they? I guess for the 9% mixed students, maybe one of them is of Spanish or Hispanic descent. So maybe that would be fine. But they should at least, if you're going to claim to be this racist African supremacist school, you should at least go and
go full on
some sort of even Afrikaans. That's not even really an African language. It's not even a black language, but it's at least in Africa. They could at least, maybe even Arabic. I'm not saying they should do that. At least that's in Africa.
That's progressive.
Oh yeah, good Lord. I'm actually kind of thankful they don't teach them that. We might have
we'd have a big problem. We'd have a lot of people coming out of that school that wind up in a million pieces in a few weeks.
Well, geez, I mean, the only thing they have good is the football team, and that's a sad thing. And that's probably the only way that most of these kids probably go to college and graduate from college. Because I imagine, if they're only having 9, I think it was 12%, deal pass the math portion on the standardized tests. Oh, Jesus. There's no way in heck that's a STEM school. And if this is I wonder how bad if they had a non-STEM version of this, it would be this is supposed to be a STEM academy. This is Harvard. It's and then it's MIT or something.
We was Rochester. Harvard.
It's MIT, and these guys are barely passing math. No wonder America is doing so bad in education compared to all these other countries. When you have schools like this that teach racist ideologies, they teach African drumming, but they really need to be teaching remedial mathematics, and then you're going to be teaching English too. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
How can you do so bad in English? It's not
hard.
It's you're learning English in America. You should that's the only real language that they really make you learn. I mean, some people talk about Spanish, but that's not nearly as common. But everyone taught we're one of the few countries that doesn't focus on learning multiple languages very well at all. But we still barely know at least these people barely know English.
They're barely literate, as Milo would say.
Do these people just not read or something? Do they just go and do African drumming all day, or underwater basket weaving? Is that what we emoji?
I thought you were going to say underwater basketball.
Thank you for listening. We'll be back next week with more real news.